Well, today, President Trump rolls out sweeping new tariffs, and the White House is holding an event at 4 o'clock today where we will finally learn the tariff details, including if they go into effect right away.
President Trump has warned that there will be no exceptions, and now some countries say that they're preparing to retaliate while hoping for some new trade deals.
Families right here in Connecticut are, of course, concerned about what that means for them. So your reporter, Marcy Jones, is live in Cromwell this morning breaking down the basics. Marcy, what do we know?
Good morning, Tracy and Nicole. You'll notice that I'm in front of a grocery store. This is just one of the many places that you could feel the price difference. That's because things like produce, fruits, and vegetables, lots are imported from countries like China, Canada, and Mexico. Those countries are facing tariffs. While the specifics of the tariffs have not yet been announced, an estimate from the budget lab at Yale University shows that a 20% universal tariff would cost the average household an additional $3,400 to $4,200 a year. This follows the president's announcement of a 25% tariff on all imported vehicles. The administration says the goals include to bring manufacturing back to the U.S., respond to unfair trade policies from other countries, and increase tax revenue. Today, Governor Ned Lamont is set to speak with Connecticut business owners in Hartford at 11 to discuss how they plan to tackle these tariffs. Your reporter in Cromwell, Marcy Jones, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
All right, thanks, Marcy.